Hi guys, I'm Ryan Houston and welcome to my fly tying channel. If you haven't already done so, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. That'll keep you up to date with everything as I upload it. My channel already contains hundreds of videos covering a wide range of both patterns and techniques, from the basic to the more advanced. So without delay, let's get on with the show. Hi guys, so we're going to tie a pike fly tonight, and this one is Otooles Pink Roach. So this is sort of standard predator type hook. This one happens to be a Sakuma 545 Manta Extra and a 6.0, and I'm going to use heavy gel spun here as my thread. So I'm putting the thread on, and then I'm going to super glue that and wrap back over it and back down again through it, and that sort of just gives me a base to tie my fly on that it shouldn't spin. So what you might have seen me do before is to take a couple of strands of 2mm holographic. It's called Disco for some reason, I'm not sure why, but I'm going to use this as the core length of my tail. So I tie that in just a little bit off center and fold it back myself, and that'll give me 4 strands in the center, and their ends are slightly misaligned here, and that gives me the full length of my fly. So the next thing we're going to do is create the sort of support for the fly, for which I'm going to use a pink bucktail. So I'm going to take a bunch of that. I'm going to put the bases of it pointing backwards, and I'm going to tie in across those probably a centimetre along their length. Put on a couple of loose wraps, and then I'm going to pull tight down into that. You can see this is flaring out. You can trim that off if you want to be very neat, but I think it actually helps to support the rest of it. So I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm just going to pull little bits of this back and wrap forward through it as I go, I get to the front, fold it all back, and this creates like a hollow umbrella sort of to support the rest of the materials that are going to go on afterwards. So I'm going to just glue a couple of inches or so of my thread here. I'm going to pull it back. I'm just going to wrap into that to create like a thread dam. So next I'm going to use a bunch of, well, it's a silver themed tinsel. So I've made this myself. You might have seen me do it with spools of Lurex there, where I wrap it around my hand and create these hanks. So this is a mixture of flat silver, holographic silver. There's a couple of holographic silvers actually in there, and I also have like a rainbow tinsel in there too, and a pearl. So I'm going to set that on so that it comes out nearly the full length of my tail. Loose lap around that. That'll help to splay the whole thing right around the shank, and then tighten down on it. Now this end here, again, I'm just going to splay it back, and hopefully it should be evenly distributed around the hook. Tie that back up towards the little thread dam that we've made. So you can see then this skirt of bucktail sort of helps to keep this out and give us that baitfish profile in behind. So I'm going to add another little bit of tinsel here, and what I'm going to use is this flashy boo stuff, lure flash I think it is. So this is like a crinkled sort of silver. I'm going to take that, and I'm tying it in across its middle. So this is a shorter bunch, and the thinking here is because it's a little bit softer, I don't want it in full length as it's more likely to tangle. So I'll then just fold it back on itself. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue into the tie-in of that. So you can see this is our sort of already baitfish type profile. So next what we're going to do is use a synthetic fiber, and this one here is in like a real hot fluorescent pink. So I'm going to cut a bunch of that off. That's what, I'll measure it for you and tell you. This is about 14 centimeters long at its longest, so I'll just misalign that. And what I'm doing here is there's some shorter bits of fibers and I'm setting them into the middle, and the longer bits I'm just pulling them out, so we end up with a misaligned sort of bunch. So when we put that on, we'll get a more natural shape, shall we say. So set that up, allow it to splay all around, a loose loop on, and let that splay around the shank. And I'm going to just glue that tie-in, and then I'm going to take a big straw here and I'm just going to fold back all this material. Pinch it to keep it flattened in a vertical sort of plane. Sorry. And now we're going to put on a grey head. So for that I'm going to use this sort of dark grey craft fur. I'll cut off a good bunch of that. I'm going to hold it roughly by its middle, and then I want to get out all of this short stuff that's in here. Flick it, brush it, blow it, whatever suits. I'm then splitting my bunch in two, and I'm going to go to my side here and I'm going to tie it in, leaving only 5 mil or so of it out, pointing rearwards. I'm going to flip the fly up on its side, and then I'm going to put the other bunch, lay it on top to the same point. And then I'm going to put a couple of half hitches into this tie-in point, and that is the tying over for now. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a dab of super glue in around that. You know, you have to be quick here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the straw and fold everything back, just pull it back into place, and then I'm going to pinch the straw, and so the super glue is in there. You'll feel it heating up, but it won't stick to the straw, and what this will do is give me like a nice flat side to put my eyes on. So you can see it has heated up, it has bonded all that together. Any that aren't, I can just hold in position and then just put a run of super glue around to set the head in the position that I want. So that is the grey head on our roach fly. It's time to put on eyes. So as you've seen before, I tend to let the super glue dry before I put eyes on, in case it interferes with things. So we'll set it out of the way, and we'll take one that we had previously got to that stage. So for this you could use silver eyes, or whatever suits yourself. I'm going to use like a red eye, because I suppose that befits the roach end of things. And I'm going to put it on with 5-minute epoxy. If you want, you can use different glues. You can use UV cure. So if I put some of that out on my post-it pad here, you've seen me use these before on a cocktail stick, and mix the two parts together. So you mix it round and round and round, and it'll start to sort of go a little bit milky, and then it'll come back to itself clear, and that's, as you know, that it's properly mixed. So then we take our cocktail stick and we place a little blob of our epoxy on each side of the head. And then set the eye into that. And then I'm going to set that aside to dry. And as it gets close to drying, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch it together. So that is our eyes on, waiting to dry. So we're going to, you could fish it like that there if you want to keep weights down. But I'm going to create an epoxy sort of head to this as well. So this is one that we've got to this stage earlier. These eyes now have dried on, and I'm going to use my epoxy that we just mixed up, and I'm just going to even out the head with that. So I'm just going to put a bit of it on top there, allow it to slide down the front. I want to let that join the whole way around. That gives me the strength. Then I get a little bit more, flip the fly upside down, and I'm going to create the bottom of the head as well. So the thing I like about this epoxy is that it sort of runs, so you can allow it to level itself out and gain a shape that you want, as long as you don't get stuff tied up in it. And then we need to let that dry. So we can spin it on our vise if we don't have a hook dryer, but I have a rotary dryer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little clip onto the materials there so that they don't flop forward into our head, as we've already seen a little bit. Just one last check of the head, level out any bit that you're not 100% happy with. And it's time now to put that in the rotary dryer. So that will spin round over there, and that will leave the head nice and smooth. So, time done. If you like what you see, give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.